Under the endless veil of night, the world holds its breath. Stars shimmer like forgotten prayers, suspended in a silence that feels almost alive. The air is thick with something unseen, a stillness that hums with waiting. In that sacred pause, before the first divine message descends, the heart begins to tremble. It does not know why. It only feels that something beyond the veil is calling. A lone seeker walks through the desert of his thoughts, each step sinking into the dust of uncertainty. His eyes lift toward the heavens, but his questions remain unspoken. The silence around him is not empty. It is listening. It is the space where eternity whispers to those who dare to be still. Why does my heart ache in this quiet? The seeker asks within himself. Why does it feel as though the stars are speaking a language I have forgotten? And from somewhere beyond sound, a whisper answers, not in words, but in presence. The first lesson reveals itself not through revelation, but through waiting. For heaven does not shout its messages. It sends them wrapped in quiet, in the moments we least expect, in the pauses between our endless searching. The seeker closes his eyes. The world fades. All that remains is the sound of his own breath, a rhythm older than time, echoing the pulse of creation itself. And then, softly, something shifts within him. It is not yet light, not yet knowing, only a faint stirring, like dawn waiting behind the horizon of his soul. Have you ever felt that same silence? That trembling calm before something sacred arrives? Perhaps that is where heaven begins to speak. Not in thunder, but in the stillness before the call. The air begins to change. The stillness that once held the seeker now trembles like the surface of water touched by an unseen hand. Something is moving not in the world around him but in the realm within. It is as if the unseen has begun to breathe, and with each invisible breath, reality bends closer to reveal its secret face. The seeker feels it before he understands it. A quiet stirring, a pulse beneath his ribs that is not his own. The world seems to lean in, listening with him. The moon watches, the wind hesitates, even time itself pauses, as if heaven has drawn near. He whispers to the darkness, "What is this feeling that walks beside me, though I see no one there?" The answer does not come as sound, but as an awareness, subtle, electric, divine. It is the trembling of the veil that separates the known from the infinite. The seeker senses it in patterns of coincidence, in the echo of dreams, in the way a single verse from the Quran repeats itself in his mind until it becomes a doorway. Again and again, the signs return, not to frighten, but to awaken. The unseen world has begun to stir, its presence felt through symbols and moments that mortal eyes mistake for chance. But nothing is chance when heaven chooses to speak. He closes his eyes and feels the edges of the veil brush against his spirit. It is not torn, only trembling, waiting for the heart to open enough to see through it. And as he stands in that twilight between knowing and mystery, a whisper rises like dawn within him. The signs are near, but will you recognize them when they arrive? The veil trembles again, and the journey truly begins. Darkness deepens before the first light appears. The seeker finds himself walking through the valley of his own shadows, a place where everything he once understood begins to unravel. The air feels heavy with memory, yet something sacred hides inside that weight. It is here, in the quiet ache of his struggle, that the first hidden message begins to reveal itself. The voice of heaven does not come through comfort, but through contrast. Light within shadow, this is the first secret. Every sorrow, every trial is a disguised teacher. Every wound carries a divine instruction sealed within its pain. The seeker kneels beside a pool of still water, his reflection fragmented by ripples. He whispers, "Why must I suffer to see?" From the depths of that silence, a gentle echo returns. Because pain breaks the shell of blindness. It cracks the heart so that light may enter. He feels tears gather, not of despair, but of recognition. The more he resists his trials, the heavier they become. Yet when he releases his grip, surrendering to what is, the storm softens. It is as though the shadow itself bows to the light hidden inside it. He remembers Ibn Arabi's words, The wound is the place where the light of the beloved enters you, and suddenly the meaning of his suffering shifts. What once felt like punishment now feels like purification. The seeker stands again. Around him, the darkness no longer threatens. It breathes. Every shade, every silence, holds the whisper of the divine. He looks to the horizon, where night meets the first faint glow of dawn. So this is the first message, he murmurs, that even in my darkness, heaven was speaking. The shadow fades, but its lesson remains. The dawn finally arrives, soft and golden, spilling across the horizon like a secret unveiled. The seeker feels warmth on his face, not just from the sun, but from something deeper, something ancient awakening inside him. The second message begins to unfold, not as words, but as a realization. Everything around him is alive with the names of the divine. He walks among creation as if seeing it for the first time. The wind brushes against his skin, whispering Ahriman, the most compassionate. The firmness of the earth beneath his feet murmurs Al-Matan, the strong. The glimmer of morning dew on leaves reflects An-Nur, the light. Every sound, every color, every moment is a verse in the unending recitation of God's names. He pauses and whispers, "Is it possible that all things speak of you?" And the breeze responds, not in sound but in understanding. "Everything speaks of me, if only you listen through the heart." The seeker's eyes fill with tears. He realizes how often he has walked through this sacred world blind to its divine language. Every kindness he received, every truth he witnessed, every moment of beauty, all were echoes of heaven calling him back. A child's laughter becomes Al-Wadud, the loving. A friend's honesty becomes Al-Haq, the truth. Even silence becomes As-Saba, the patient. The seeker kneels upon the earth, hands pressed into the soil that holds both life and decay. "You were never far," he whispers. "I was simply deaf to your music." In that moment, the veil between creation and creator feels thinner than breath. The world no longer appears ordinary. It becomes a mirror reflecting the infinite. The seeker lifts his gaze to the heavens, his voice trembling in awe. Then all along, the divine was hiding in plain sight. The second message settles in his heart. Everything is a sign, and every sign speaks his name. The path grows quieter now. The seeker walks beneath a silver sky, the horizon stretching like an unfinished prayer. He feels a strange ache, not of pain, but of longing. It is a hunger that no food can feed, a thirst that no water can quench. And slowly, he begins to understand. This longing itself is a message from heaven. The third hidden message reveals itself in the mirror of desire. The seeker whispers, "Why does my heart yearn for what I cannot touch?" And deep within, the answer rises like dawn over an unseen sea. Because longing is the bridge between you and the beloved. The seeker closes his eyes. The ache intensifies, but now it feels sacred, as if the distance itself is a form of divine love. Ibn Arabi once wrote, "The desire of the lover for the beloved is itself the beloved's desire." In that paradox, the seeker finds both pain and peace. He remembers every time he searched for meaning, in people, in journeys, in fleeting moments of beauty. He realizes that what he was truly seeking was not outside him at all. It was the echo of heaven calling through the corridors of his soul. The ache becomes prayer. The emptiness becomes music. Every beat of his heart repeats a hidden mantra. "Come closer. Come home." He whispers to the silence, "Is this how you call us? Through our longing?" And the silence replies softly, "Yes, for only those who ache can hear." Tears fall, gentle as rain upon dry earth. The seeker does not wipe them away. He lets them sink into the soil of his soul, watering the seed of remembrance. And there, in that quiet surrender, he discovers something profound. The distance he felt was never separation. It was the path itself. Longing was never a curse. It was the language of love. Night descends again, soft and shimmering, wrapping the world in a veil of mystery. The seeker sits beneath the faint glow of a crescent moon, his thoughts dissolving into the rhythm of his breath. Between wakefulness and sleep, the border between worlds thins, And it is there, in that half-light of consciousness, that the fourth hidden message begins to whisper. Dreams flicker across his mind like lanterns in the wind. Faces appear, words unspoken, symbols flowing in quiet procession. A river, a bird in flight, a door made of light. None of it is clear, yet every image feels charged with meaning. The seeker stirs, caught between understanding and awe. He murmurs softly, "Are these only dreams, or are they messages?" And from the silence, the voice of intuition answers. There are truths that only the sleeping heart can hear. The seeker remembers the words of the mystics, that dreams are the language of the soul, the unseen realm translating divine guidance into symbols our waking mind cannot yet grasp. They are not random. They are reflections, fragments of light refracted through the prism of our inner being. He sees himself in one vision walking through a vast desert. A single tree stands in the distance, green and alive, its roots drinking from unseen water. The voice returns. Even in desolation, the soul that trusts will bloom. He awakens suddenly, heart racing, breath quickened. For the first time, he feels that his dreams are not illusions, but invitations, messages wrapped in the imagery of heaven's language. He whispers, "Then even my sleep is sacred. Even my wandering thoughts can carry you." As the first rays of dawn spill through the horizon, he realizes, heaven does not only speak through waking miracles, but through the quiet visions of the night. Dreams, too, are letters sent from beyond the veil. The morning light returns, but something within the seeker feels heavier now. Not with darkness, but with depth. He walks through the memories of what he's lost. Faces that have vanished, doors that have closed, moments that can never be reclaimed. Each loss feels like an echo of something sacred departing. Yet as he stands within that ache, the seventh message begins to reveal itself. Loss, too, is a language of heaven. He sits beside a forgotten grave, tracing the dust that covers a name. The wind sighs softly, carrying the fragrance of earth and memory. "Why must love end?" he whispers. "Why must everything I hold eventually fade?" The answer does not come as comfort, it comes as truth. Because what fades was never meant to stay. It was meant to teach. The seeker closes his eyes and feels a subtle warmth rise through the ache. He begins to sense that every departure, every heartbreak, every disappearance was not punishment but purification. When the heart breaks, it spills what is false, so that only what is eternal can remain. He remembers Ibn Arabi's reflection. The real hides himself in veils so that the lover may seek him. And when he removes those veils, the lover realizes they were never apart. Tears fall freely now. They no longer sting, they cleanse. Each one feels like a verse returning to its source. He whispers through trembling lips, "So loss is not emptiness. It's the space where you enter." And as he breathes those words, a deep stillness floods his chest, a peace that feels infinite. He realizes that what was taken was never truly gone. It simply changed form, moved closer to the unseen. For in the sacred mathematics of the divine, even loss is guidance. Heaven sometimes takes only to return us to ourselves. The world awakens after rain. Droplets cling to the edges of leaves like pearls scattered by unseen hands. The air feels washed, renewed, alive with the pulse of something eternal. The seeker walks through a quiet valley, and for the first time he begins to truly listen. The eighth hidden message approaches, the realization that nature itself is a scripture, and every element carries the remembrance of the one. The wind hums low, weaving through the branches, whispering secrets that words cannot hold. The seeker pauses. His heart beats in rhythm with the rustling of trees, and he feels it, a presence that breathes through all things. He whispers to the open sky, "Are you speaking to me through this silence?" And the world seems to answer not with sound but with alignment. A cloud shifts, light pierces through. A single bird ascends in perfect timing. Every motion feels deliberate, as if heaven choreographs the smallest detail to awaken his sight. He remembers the verse, "There is not a thing but celebrates his praise, though you do not understand their glorification." Each gust of wind becomes diker, each wave of grass a prayer. The seeker kneels and lets his fingers sink into the soil, feeling the pulse of life beneath. Subhanallah. He breathes. Even the earth remembers. A breeze brushes his face, soft as mercy. It carries the scent of distant rain, and with it, a realization. Everything that exists is part of one divine conversation, an unending call and response between creator and creation. He stands, eyes closed, letting the wind wrap around him like a cloak of remembrance. The veil between him and the world dissolves. Everything hums with the same sacred rhythm. Heaven's eighth message settles gently within him. The world is not silent. You simply forgot how to listen. The days pass, and the seeker grows familiar with heaven's language. Yet now, something changes. The signs seem to pause. The air feels still again, the once living rhythm of reveille.